you all for being here. I apologize, we don't have enough chairs for everybody.
Somebody needs a chair, I'll give mine up, or somebody needs to sit.
Great America.
Same here.
We so appreciate you coming out, caring enough about what's going on in Congress right now to let your voices be heard here. I am Lynn Jenkins. I represent this area. We are spending a greater part of today in Douglas County. We just had a town hall in Lawrence on the West Campus and started a retirement home and did one there, and are pleased to have you folks join us now. I want to give a shout out to Mark the Mayor. Thank you for being here. That's very nice. And the man of the hour is Paul Longmire, a proud...
all of these people are the men and women of the hour. Let me tell you, because they took the time to show up, and that's what makes this community great. You don't ever forget that.
Yeah, he sure did you all proud with a nice letter to the editor. I don't know if all of you saw our column about your post office, and said a lot of nice things. I was awful proud of him for doing that. He does a lot for this community. Boy, that was spot on. We also would like to welcome Paul. He's behind the camera there. If you want to turn around and wave at Paul. He works for the Kansas Democrat Party, and his job is to follow me everywhere I go.
Way to go!
So if you are brave enough to speak up, you'll get to see yourself on the YouTube, and you'll be a star. So just want you to know he's here. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. What I thought I might do, well, first of all, I should probably recognize the two staff members I have. Bill Rowe is in our Topeka office. He has been working very closely with Paul on the post office thing. They probably talk every day. They have been working on that a couple months, and I have a feeling that relationship will continue. And my chief of staff, Pat Leopold, lives here in Douglas County, works in Topeka as well. We thought what we might do is start out with just some of the basic facts about where we stand as far as the fiscal mess that is Washington. And I was going to share with you some of the ideas that the House is working on. And then we're going to turn it over to all of you and hear what ideas you might have, advice and counsel, comments. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to try to answer those. So the best place to start is probably to give you all a reminder about what is the federal government budget. And if you can see over there, the green is the non-defense discretionary portion of the budget. That makes up about 20% of the budget that is the federal government. And that's the piece that we spent 90% of our time talking about in Washington. That's the appropriation bills that we pass. We have 12 in total. The majority of them, of those, make up that 20%. The yellow is the defense budget. That's usually viewed as the primary role of the federal government to protect us. That makes up 20%, and that's a separate appropriation bill in and of itself. So out of the 12, probably 11 come out of that other area, probably one there. And then the rest of it that's kind of all looped together, the other 60% of the budget, is what I refer to as autopilot spending, because we don't really talk about it much in Washington. There's no need to discuss it because laws are on the books that provide for certain things, and all we do is just cut the checks. There's no reason to really talk about it, and history shows that if you are silly enough to talk about it, you'll probably lose your job in Congress, and that is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and then the light blue is the interest on our debt as a percentage of the pie, and that's with interest rates at near zero amount. So you can imagine if interest rates go up, what that might do. And then that other mandatory, the darker blue at the top, is like unemployment and child nutrition, SSI, the disability payments, again, just autopilot things, laws are on the books, checks are cut, but we don't really ever talk about it. The next slide will show you kind of the problem, one view of the problem. The dotted black line is the revenues that come into the federal government over time, starting in 08 and projected out based on current law. This is what the projection is. And as you can see, if we take care of defense, which again is generally viewed as the primary role of the federal government, and then we pay our Medicaid in the red, Medicare in the green, Social Security in the purple, in 2011, we're out of money. We don't have enough money to pay the interest on our debt, the other mandatory spending, and the discretionary spending, the ones that we do all the appropriation bills, it's not even on here. So this is the problem. What's the next one? This is just a reminder, you know, there was a day when we owned our own public debt. We bought United States savings bonds, and so we were the debt holders of our nation that had a deal forward now. As you see, over time, that has changed. And now it's half of our federal debt is owned by foreign countries. And so that's what's kind of concerning a lot of us and causing us to lose a little sleep. The next one is just a view of our debt over time. And again, this is a historical view, and then based on current law, if we did not think where we would go with our national debt. And as you can see, we have a little peak in World War II, and then it came down a bit. And there's always been a certain level of public debt because just like you, a lot of us have a mortgage on our home. I mean, some debt makes sense. If we're going to build roads and bridges, infrastructure, which is also one of probably the top priorities of the federal budget, there's going to be some debt involved with that because they're long-term projects, they're investments. So there's always been a level of debt. The problem is there at 2010, as you see, based on current law, where the debt goes, the problem is we're no longer borrowing money to buy roads and bridges and long-term projects. We're borrowing money to meet our day in and day out expenses. And once again, you all can't do that at home. A business can't operate like that, so we need to make some changes in Washington. This is just a slide that shows every day we wait and put this off, it becomes more difficult to solve. So there's an urgency in Washington to address it sooner than later. And so I was going to tell you about the next slide, what we were going to try to do about it in the House. And we were going to come at this several ways. One, obviously, there's going to be some cuts. What we're going to try to do is in that discretionary, non-defense discretionary budget item, we're trying to cut back. And the goal is, again, you know, when you pull out your Constitution, what we want to get back to is what was the federal government created to do? And any power grab that they've had over the course of the years, we need to peel back and we need to get back to the states what they should have had control over. Get back to the local communities, the cities and counties, what should have been their domain. Get back to each of us what should have been our role as citizens, and have the federal government, you know, peel back to just what it was intended to do. Like I said, defense would be number one, roads and bridges, safety net programs for people who are indigent or unable to care for themselves, and that kind of thing. So number one is everything needs to be looked at. This is maybe the first year even defense is going to be cut a little bit. Secretary Gates came over and said, you know, there are savings to be had at the Pentagon. So by golly, we're going to cut that, which hasn't been done before. But then the next part is probably the most controversial part, and that is we're going to have this discussion about those things that everyone always avoids, the Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. And what we're simply proposing is, you know, because most of those programs are bankrupt, like Medicare, the non-congressional budget office tells us in 8 years it's gone, it's bankrupt, it ceases to exist. So any of us that hope to live more than 8 years, we've got a problem. And every time the folks in Washington didn't balance their budget, spent more money that they took in, they robbed it out of the Social Security Trust Fund, so that money's gone. So we have to resolve this. So the proposal from the House is simply that we first of all set aside anybody that's 55 and older and leave them just as it's always been. And the theory there is this simple. You can't break promises to people who don't have the time to react. People in retirement or near retirement don't have time to find out that they've been lied to all of their lives. So we just need to keep them on the track that we're on. But those of us that are pushing 50 and up to 55, we have a little more time to plan accordingly. So we're suggesting a couple changes. Here's a chair, I'm sorry. And the two changes are, number one, an income adjustment. We're not sure Warren Buffett is waiting for his Social Security check or his Medicare payment. So we're suggesting that we just give the help to the people that need it most. So those on the very bottom get the most help, and those at the top that don't need any help don't get any help, and those of us that are in between will get something based on our income. The second change is age. I think this is a good thing. We're living on average 10 years longer than when these programs were created. That's a good thing. 70 used to be the average age, now it's almost 80. So what we're suggesting is, if that's the case, some of us can work a couple years longer, 2 years longer, and it would be a slow ratcheting up to 2 years. So those that are really right near the 55-year wouldn't feel the full, impact. It would just gradually happen. So those are the two changes. The other thing I will mention is it would turn over to a premium support program. And I know a lot of people get confused and they hear the word voucher, and that's a scary word. We're not talking about a voucher. A voucher is when I give you a voucher and you have to go into the marketplace and try to buy health insurance. People don't want to do that. You can't do that. So what we're suggesting is a premium support program. It's just what I have as a member of Congress, and that is I'm guaranteed coverage. So everyone, and this is only for the 55 and under, we're guaranteed coverage when we hit Medicare age. When we hit that age, we would have a list of people that would cover us, and you would pick the plan that best suited your situation. And then based on need, again, most support going to the people that are indigent or don't have means, no support going to Warren Buffett, and the premium support would be based on income. So I hope that kind of clarifies what that is all about. In addition to that, the final piece is the growth piece, and that is included in this budget that we sent over was fundamental tax reform. And what we're proposing all kind of started with the realization that we have the highest corporate income tax in the world. We can no longer compete with folks in the international marketplace. And so if you were a business owner, you would not want to do business here because the differential between the rates would go right to your bottom line. So what we're suggesting is an overhaul of the tax code. I'm a tax practitioner, CPA. When I worked in the private sector, I practiced in public accounting in the tax area, and I can assure you that this tax code is a mess. It's about 10 times the length of the Bible with no good news in it. And so what we're suggesting is a complete overhaul, a fundamental reform where we eliminate the loopholes for all the folks that can afford to pay high-powered tax attorneys or lobbyists to roam the halls of Congress to get them a sweetheart deal. Eliminate the loopholes at the top, broaden the base, and flatten out the rates so it would be for us able to compete internationally